do a lot of business. And I spent a lot of money playing golf and I did no business. So I went to Arizona and I had a guy teach me how to use golf to do business. And I hate to tell you what I paid him $1,500 to tell me. He said, do not talk business. No matter how tempted, no matter how much he wants to ask you, no matter how much he says you're paying $1,000 to have a foursome out for the day, I will not talk business with him now. He asks, we get a couple holes in, because think of it. You offered a guy, a major investor, he knows you're dropping a bunch of money. You can join a country club, by the way, in an inexpensive part of the country, and most have reciprocity to private clubs around the country. It's a great vehicle. Find a cheap country club to join that you can use elsewhere. If you use this as a vehicle, because it's much cheaper that way. So look, I'm a businessman. I'm trying to play and enjoy it at the same time. So now, you get there. What is the first thing, the profile of the investor when he's going to meet with the closer? First thing he thinks is you're going to come and shove it down his throat. You're paying $1,000 to take me out and two of my managers out. You got to be ready to slam it down my throat, and he's ready for it. So you play a couple of holes, you're having a good time, you get a bite to eat. You headed to the third or fourth hole, and he goes, you know, what are you taking us out to talk some business? I'm like, why would I want to ruin a beautiful day like today? You'll make the turn, get a quick bite, whatever. He'll ask again while you're sitting there, wasn't there something you wanted to... I'd prefer, if you wouldn't mind, I'd prefer not to talk business. You take him out to dinner after it's all over. Still, no business. You walk him to the car at the end of the day. He's going crazy. I mean, he's asked you a number of times, you will not tell him. As you get to the car, you go, I hope you had a wonderful time today. I know I did. I know I have something that can help you and it'll fit exactly into what you're looking for. Would you mind if I come by tomorrow to discuss it with you? I close like 75% that I do that with now. And I was closing none of them. They don't really want to know about you. And they don't really want to know about what you know. They want to know about you and what you know as it pertains to them. Period. And with this, you can make the argument that it's humankind also that's being helped. And I've got to tell you, everybody I talk to, I use those words, that kind of terminology. We're helping mankind. There's no question that this has moved in advanced science. We are helping mankind. So, to find these people, you have lists, you have organizations, you have all those things. Has anybody tried a net wealth list? Where you just strictly knew, the only thing you knew about them is they had a lot of money. Now I want to teach you a trick, because this is one that becomes a psychological thing from a salesman standpoint. Who, when you go out and see them, knows what you're going to be saying to them? Only you. They have no idea. So, because they have no idea what direction you're going, you need to be 100% in control with the direction you take them. If you can give them a direction where they actually come out and ask you for the information, psychologically, they're now on their way to being bought. But back to this big net wealth group. If you don't feel like you are able or on an equal footing with the person who makes $10 million or more a year, or has net wealth of $10 million a year, or 20, whatever your number is, fake it. Fake it. Look, I personally know 2 billionaires. I've done very little business with them because the scope of their business is just gigantic. And I would rather say I can't do something that I can't accomplish than to get into something and then not accomplish it. But when you sit with these guys, they're just like you and me in general. They're really just like you and me. So a lot of salespeople have this little bit of an inferiority complex, and that builds up from a lot of things psychologically. What I'll tell you is this. I heard this, I don't know, I think it was a guy who might have been in one of those 12-step programs, which I think happen to be very good for a lot of people. They've saved a lot of people's lives. One of the terms that he uses all the time is fake it till you make it. He doesn't know what I have. He has absolutely no, now the truth is I actually, because of the way I've set it up, I have people to my house to do business. I actually invite prospects during the day when everybody's gone. I have people come over and see me at my house. Because I have a house and I live in an area that just by somebody coming there, it increases what looks like my credibility. So I use that to my advantage. If you have a location where your customer doesn't mind that you show other people the machine, use that as your credibility. Whatever, my car, I'm not a materialistic person. I don't drive expensive cars, but my car is always washed. It's always vacuumed. I look like I care about what I'm doing. So from a psychological standpoint, one thing that I think from my investigation of everybody I've talked to, we have a lot of stuff we have to clear out of our own heads having to do with this opportunity. I know the arguments you're thinking about. I know the arguments you're getting in the field. Every one of them can be overcome. If you have to identify your market as being different than what you work, then maybe you don't work well with people that have a net worth that much. So find people who have a quarter the net worth and think I'm going to have to get 4 of them put together to do the deal. Help them. But we have to identify them first. Who here has a prospect that has been hearing excuses from that prospect for more than a year? Who has a lead that's on the books more than a year? Okay. There are circumstances, no question. I'm sure you give me specific circumstances. But I believe you have leads within your lead group that really should be just weeded out. By a certain point, you should sit down with that prospect and go, you know what? I've shown you every benefit. I've justified everything. I've given you exactly the way it works. I'm going to move forward with you. I'm going to show you how to do it once you have it open. I'll tell you how to get the traffic. I'll tell you all those things. And every time I come to see you, you've got another excuse. Can I ask you a frank question? Are you capable of making this investment? Anybody ever tried negative closing on people that have a lot of money? They hate it. I can't do what? Try it. Take it right away from them. Every single time that you have somebody stalling you that you know you made the argument. Now, one thing I want to submit to the leads that you may have now. You may not have given enough of a presentation to them. There might be things in their mind that they're still confused about. So as we work our way through today, I'm going to show you how if you arrange it logically and systematically to tie them down, these long closing cycles will no longer exist because, except in cases like we had talked about, he needs to move, there's going to be some time issues. But you will have eliminated most of the leads that you're calling leads already.
Yeah, well there's one thing that we realize now is that we have a lot of leads that, I mean, I have guys that I've spoken to 3 years ago, and now they're waking up. So I want to discard leads because now we have more material. We have an excellent paper.
Right.
We have an excellent paper. We have extra ammo to go back to the guys that were interested 2 or 3 years ago.
Absolutely.
Hey guys, did you see the new UCLA paper?
Correct.
I'm going to email it to you right now. I want you to review this and let's set up a meeting to do a presentation for your whole group.
100%. I call that a situation conducive to selling. And in those cases, they didn't have the information they needed. So maybe those were situations not conducive to selling. We need to put everyone in a situation where we can close them. So granted, going back to them, absolutely, there's a portion of it. But I'm sure there's people within the prospect list that are not real prospects, if you're chasing them for that long. Because otherwise, you could justify the real circumstances, not the smoke screens that they keep giving you. And I would say, I'll get to you in just a minute, I would say it comes down to ego in this kind of an investment. Once you get somebody in, that's why it's so important in step 1 to pick the demographics carefully. Because a lot of times, if you pick the demographic incorrectly and they can't afford it, how many people have run into an investor that has told them, I can't afford that investment? They don't say it. Very rarely. I mean, on occasion, all right, I would agree on occasion. Very, very rarely, though, because it becomes an ego thing.